34 to 31. I think it'll be a tiny bit high scoring. But yeah, that's my prediction and Madden's prediction. Well, have you know it, me and Madden were both wrong about that game because the Lions ended up winning 21 to 20, so that puts us both at 0-1. So we're going to hop into the other games. As our first game we're going to do a simulation for is the Bengals and the Browns. It'll be an AFC North clash, and we'll see what Madden thinks is going to happen, and then I'm going to say what my prediction is at the end of the simulation. So right now, Bengals up 7-0. Now they're up 14-0. Browns kick a field goal to make it an 11-point game. Make it an 8-point game. Bengals back to 11 after they kick a field goal. 17-9 is the score. 24-9 is the score. Browns kick another field goal. That's not going to get it done against the Bengals, and the Joe Burrow-led Bengals are going to easily whoop the Browns 34-19, according to Madden. And I do agree. I do think the Bengals are going to win. I think the score, instead of 34-19, though, I think it's going to be 23-17 Bengals. So we both agree on this one as well as the Lions and Chiefs game. So we're going to go through the stats real quick, too. Deshaun Watson didn't have a great day. Joe Burrow, on the other hand, had a pretty good day. Joe Mixon had an all-right game rushing. His yards per carry wasn't very good, though. Receiving, T. Higgins had a really good day. So did Amari Cooper and a couple other guys. Just going to flip through all these stats here. And, yeah, once we do that and see how everyone did on defense as well, we'll hop into our next game after that, as it looks like Chidobe Awuzie and another guy, I didn't catch his name. I guess you could pause the video and look if you really wanted to. But I'm out of game to commentate now. Texans and Ravens is up next. And we're going from one AFC North team's stadium to another, as this will be played in Baltimore. So we'll see what Madden thinks is going to happen, as the Ravens score quickly to make it 7-0. Score another touchdown to make it 14-0. Texans got to do something here if they're going to stay in this game, as giving up another touchdown to the Ravens will not help, as the Texans actually scored a touchdown and a field goal. So they're clawing their way back in this game, as now they actually have the lead, and Madden thinks the Texans are going to beat the Ravens 24-21. I think it's safe to say that that's a very bold prediction, and it is definitely a take that I do not agree with, as I think the Ravens are going to win 35-31, not 35-31, 35-21. As we're going to look at the stats here, Lamar had an iffy day. He had 2 interceptions, only 1 touchdown. CJ Stroud, surprisingly, against this Ravens stout defense, had a solid game. Rushing, Lamar and a couple other guys had some rushing touchdowns. And receiving, Rashad Bateman led everyone. Or actually, no, Mark Andrews led everyone with 59 receiving yards. Not a whole lot of offense, despite CJ Stroud having a good day. There's a lot of defense in this game in the second half, leading in 2 interceptions. Derek Stingley leading with 11 tackles out of everyone on the field. So yeah, that's Ravens and Texans. And we'll hop right into our next game, which will be Buccaneers at Vikings. So we're going to go from AFC to NFC, as these are both NFC teams. This will be the first one where the NFC team is the home team. So we're going to simulate this real quick, as right now the Bucs are up 7-0, now 7-3 after the Vikings make it a 4-point game. Now it's a 1-point game after they kick another field goal, but the Bucs do tack on another touchdown, making an 8-point game. Vikings kick a field goal, now they get a touchdown to go up by 1. Bucs kick a field goal, go up by 2. Vikings up by 5, Bucs up by 3, and the Vikings get, I believe, a last-second touchdown to win this game 29-25. So definitely quite an exciting game. If it ended like that in real life, that'd be something. As I do think the Vikings are going to win as well. I think they're going to win 24-17. So passing the ball will look, and Kirk had a flawless day as he had 3 touchdowns, no picks. Baker Mayfield had a good day too, as offense wasn't really the problem for these two teams. It was the defense for the Bucs that really cost them in the end there, as they allowed the Vikings to come from behind and get that late second touchdown. So receiving the ball, look at the stats real quickly here, as it looks like Jordan Addison, the rookie, had a really solid first game of his career. As we'll look defensively, there weren't any interceptions, so there's nothing really to talk about there. Now, tackling, Levante David led everyone with 9 tackles, but it wasn't quite enough to get his Buccaneers the victory there. All right, our next game is going to be another NFC South team, 2 NFC South teams actually. This will be a clash between the Panthers and Falcons, as it'll be played in Atlanta, as we'll get right to simulating that and see what Madden thinks will happen. Panthers forces safety, which is kind of a weird way to start things off, but it looks like the Falcons aren't really fazed by it, as they've scored 28 unanswered points, as the Panthers do kick a field goal and a touchdown to make it 28-13, but it won't be nearly enough to win this game, as the Falcons will end this game with a score of 28-13, and I agree. I think the Falcons are going to win this game, except my score prediction is going to be 2014 Falcons. So me and Madden agree this time again. And passing the ball, Desmond Ridder had a really good day. 4 touchdowns, no picks. Bryce Young wasn't too bad either, but it wasn't quite enough to propel his team to a victory. Rushing the ball, there were no rushing touchdowns. Couple of rushing yards, though. Receiving touchdowns, there were 4 receiving touchdowns. Actually, there was 5. And 4 from the Falcons and 1 from the Panthers, as Jonathan Mingo was the only player for the Panthers to get a touchdown on the day. And defensively, Richie Grant led in tackles. And we're going to look at all the other guys who got tackles, and that will basically conclude this game, as we'll hop right into our next game, which will be the Cardinals playing at the Commanders. As this game, I don't know if anyone's going to be actively watching this game, unless you're a Cardinals or Commanders fan, but we'll sim it anyway. We'll include it, as right now we're going to have the Cardinals be up 3-0, as now they're up 10-0. And looks like this is kind of a surprise, because a lot of people probably expect the Commanders to win, as 17-10 is the score, as the Commanders are trying to make their way back in this game, but the Cardinals of all teams get a victory. So it appears that maybe the Cardinals are onto something, according to Madden. I mean, I sure as hell don't think that's going to happen. I think that the Commanders are going to win 24-21. So, a bit of a surprise there that the Madden has the Cardinals winning that game. Joshua Dobbs, the quarterback, had a solid day, only 1 interception. Sam Howell could have been better, though. He had a pick and no touchdowns. As rushing the ball, it looks like James Conner led everyone in rushing yards. No rushing touchdowns on the day. Receiving touchdowns, Rondale Moore and Marquise Brown able to get 2 touchdowns there. Terry McLaurin leading everyone in receiving there, as it looks like the Commanders really struggled to get into the end zone. As interceptions, Jamin Davis and Kevon Wallace able to get interceptions of their own, and Benjamin St. Juste able to lead everyone in tackles. As that will conclude this matchup, as we'll hop into our next matchup, what will be a divisional matchup between the Jags and the Colts. And this should be a good one. And we'll see how Anthony Richardson and Trevor Lawrence do, 2 young quarterbacks. One's exceptionally younger, yet to play in the NFL, so we'll see how he does in this game. As right now, the score is tied 3-3, and now the Jags are up by 3 after kicking another field goal. Now they're up by 6 after kicking another field goal. Colts do get a touchdown, though, but the Jags aren't going away. They get a touchdown. Colts get a safety, I think. And but it's not going to be enough, as the Jags will win this one with a score of 17-12. And I also agree that the Jags are going to win, except I have them winning this game 24-13. And we'll just take a quick look at the stats here. As Anthony Richardson, I mean, that's not terrible for a first game. He didn't throw any interceptions. And rushing the ball, Deion Jackson got a rushing touchdown. Travis Etienne led everyone in rushing yards. Receiving the ball, JaMychal Hasty, the only player to get into the end zone for a receiving touchdown. And it looks like Zay Jones led every receiver in receiving yards. No interceptions in the game, as Foyesade Okwane, however you say that name, led in tackles. As that's going to conclude this matchup, as well as we'll hop into our next matchup, which will be at the 49ers and Steelers, as this will be Brock Purdy and Kenny Pickett's second seasons as starters. So this should be a fun matchup, considering that both quarterbacks are in the same level of experience. And it looks like Madden thinks differently, as it's 6-3 49ers, so not a whole lot of high scoring here, as it is a tie game now, as there's finally a touchdown in the game, as 13-6 is the score. Now it's 20-6, now it's only 7-6. 49ers really rallying some touchdowns there at the end to make the score look more exciting for them than it actually was, as it was really a low-scoring game for a while. But they do come away with this one 27-13 according to Madden, and I agree that the 49ers will win, except I think they will win 13-10. And we'll look at the stats here. Brock Purdy had a solid day. He had 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Kenny Pickett did have an interception, though. And rushing the ball, Elijah Mitchell had 2 rushing touchdowns. CMC led everyone in rushing yards. Receiving, Deebo Samuel and Allen Robinson had receiving touchdowns. And it looks like George Pickens led everyone in receiving yards as well. Damondre Lenore, the only player to get an interception for the 49ers. And Landon Roberts on the Steelers able to get 8 tackles in this game. As that's going to conclude this matchup, as we'll hop into our next matchup, which will be between the Titans and the Saints. Derek Carr, this is going to be his first game with the Saints, and DeAndre Hopkins also signed with the Tennessee Titans, as we'll see what Madden thinks here. There's going to be no Alvin Kamara for the Saints, and it's also going to be weird seeing Derek Carr in a Saints uniform instead of a Raiders uniform. Same with DeAndre Hopkins, because he's also on a new team, the Titans. As it looks like the Titans are up by a lot, 24-6 is the score. As it doesn't look like Derek Carr's having a great first game with the Saints, as they're going to lose this game 24-9. And it looks like me and Madden are going to differ on our opinions on this one, because I do think the Saints are going to win this one. I think the Saints will win this one with a score of 28 Saints, 21 Titans. So, looks like me and Madden don't agree here. And we'll look at the stats here according to Madden. Derek Carr, I mean, not as bad as I thought he would be. Ryan Tannehill had a better day, though, because he had a touchdown. And rushing the ball, we'll look and see Derrick Henry led everyone in rushing yards. Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry both having rushing touchdowns. Tyjae Spears with a receiving touchdown. Chris Olave receiving yards leader in that game. Defensively, there were no interceptions in this game, as it looks like we're going to just conclude this one. As, I don't think that's going to happen, but Madden does, so that's their prediction. Our next game is going to be an AFC West matchup between the Raiders and the Broncos. Jimmy G is the new quarterback for the Raiders. Broncos acquired Sean Payton as well, so we'll see if Madden thinks that's going to work out for them. And it looks like so far not too bad for the Broncos, as they're up 14-7, now 21-7. So it looks like the offense is moving right now. And now it's 28-14. And now it's 35-14. And now it's 35-21. 42-21. Oh man. That's like the highest scoring game so far. Surprising. Well, the irony that they have the most points out of anyone, considering how bad their offense was last year. But yeah, the Broncos will come away with this one 42-21. And I do think the Broncos will win, but it'll be something like 20-17 in my opinion. As passing the ball, Russell Wilson and Jimmy G both had pretty solid days. Jimmy G did have an interception though, that's not great. Rushing the ball, Javonte Williams and Russell Wilson both had rushing touchdowns, as Javonte led everyone in rushing yards. Receiving, Greg Dulcich, Hunter Renfrow, and Devontae Adams all able to make their way into the end zone. Cortland Sutton leading everyone in receiving yards with 94. And defensively, there was 1 interception, and Josie Jewell was credited with that interception. And Divine Diablo of the Raiders, I have no idea who that is, led everyone in tackles. And that'll do it for this game, as our next game is going to be between the Eagles and the Patriots, as it'll be our second 4 o'clock game and a rematch of Super Bowl 52. So we'll see how each team responds to the latter game being the last game that both these teams... Actually, no, that's not true. They played a couple years ago. But it's still significant that it's a former Super Bowl matchup. But anyway, we're going to hop right into this. As it looks like the Patriots are kind of choking here, as they were up by a lot, but now the Eagles are back in this game, as it's tie game 34-34. And the Patriots able to hang on. Man, oh man. Looks like that was a sketchy victory, but a victory nonetheless. 40-30 Patriots is the score according to Madden. Now, I think the Eagles are going to win, and I think it's going to be 31-20. As we'll look at the stats here, Mac Jones, he had a really good day. So did Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts arguably had a better day, but it looks like the team rallied more around the Patriots than the Eagles. As Ramondre Stevenson led in rushing yards, him and Rashad Penny both had rushing touchdowns. Dallas Goedert, A.J. Brown, Kendrick Bourne, Riley Reif, the right tackle, Devontae Parker, and Juju Smith-Schuster all had receiving touchdowns, so a lot of passing the ball. Juju led with 109 receiving yards, so he had one hell of an outing in this game. And looks like that acquire by the Patriots to get Juju from the Chiefs worked out in their favor, as Darius Slay got a pick on the day. And unfortunately for the Eagles, it wasn't quite enough to win this game, but we'll hop into our next game here. It'll be a divisional matchup between the Rams and the Seahawks, and we'll see how each team responds, because the Rams had a very disappointing year last year, and the Seahawks had a very surprising year in a good way last year. And we'll see how this goes, because these teams always play hard because they're divisional opponents, so they definitely want this game more than you would expect from, other teams, just because it's a divisional game. As right now, the Seahawks are up 28-13, and now they're up 35-13, as it looks like the Rams had no answers for Geno Smith and the Seahawks, and the Rams couldn't figure out anything offensively either, as they'll lose this game 35-13. As that's probably about what people would expect. I'm expecting it to be a little closer, though. I think the Seahawks will win, but I will think it will be 24-14. As we'll look at the stats here, Matthew Stafford had a pick. Not a great day. Geno Smith had a solid day, though. DJ Dallas and Kenneth Walker, two Seahawks getting in for rushing touchdowns. Kenneth Walker leading everyone in rushing yards. Receiving touchdowns, Cody Thompson, Tyler Lockett, Kenneth Walker, and Cooper Kupp, who isn't supposed to be playing, all got touchdowns. And Cooper Kupp leading in receiving yards, which he's not supposed to be playing Madden. You should know better, but you don't, so we'll just move on. Defensively, Tariq Woolen got a pick. Quandre Diggs leading in tackles. As I guess it doesn't matter that Cooper Kupp played, because the Rams still couldn't win, as that'll conclude this game. As we'll hop into our next game in LA between the Dolphins and the Chargers. And this should be a very high scoring game. Two borderline top 10 quarterbacks in this game. And the defenses are pretty suspect as well, as the Dolphins will not have Jalen Ramsey in this game, a player that they acquired in the offseason, because he will be injured until about early December. And we'll see how this game plays out, as right now the Dolphins are up 17-13, as we'll see who comes away with this one. The Chargers score a last-second touchdown, and the Dolphins are unable to score again to keep the game moving along, as the Chargers take this one with a score of 20-17. And I don't agree. I think the Dolphins are going to win this game. And I think it's going to be more high-scoring, too. I think the Dolphins are going to win 38-35. And we'll look at the stats here. It's Justin Herbert and Tua both having pretty solid days there. And, that's about what I expected from the quarterbacks. Trey McKitty, the only rushing touchdown in that game. He had one rush, but it was a noticeable rush, as it was a touchdown. Receiving, Keenan Allen, Durham Smith, and Tyreek Hill all had receiving touchdowns. Tyreek Hill leading in receiving with 114. And we'll look at the defense, as there were no interceptions in the game, but David Long and some Chargers defender, I don't really know, led in tackles, as that will conclude this game. As we will go to one of the most known rivalries in all of sports, as it'll be the Packers and the Bears. And we'll see how this one goes. This will be Jordan Love's first week 1 starting game. This will be his first season where he's like the starter starting out. And Justin Fields getting a lot of hype during the offseason due to his rushing ability. So we'll see how this game plays out, as right now the Packers are up by 2, and they have the ball. Now they're just tossing the ball back and forth like they're playing catch or something. But the Packers do score and make it a 2-score game at the end with a final score of 23-14. And I disagree with that one because I think the Bears are going to win this game 20-17, just because I think Justin Fields has more of a, experience level, as you might say, over Jordan Love, since Jordan Love's only played like 2 real games. As both quarterbacks in this game pretty good, as Jordan Love had a solid day too. 3 touchdowns, no picks. That's pretty good. Khalil Herbert had a rushing touchdown, and he led in rushing yards. And just take a look at all the rushing stats here. Receiving, Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson, Luke Musgrave, Darnell Mooney all had receiving touchdowns there, as Cole Kmet leading everyone in receiving yards, which is kind of unusual considering he's a tight end. And defensively, there weren't any interceptions, but we'll just take a look at the tackles here. So no one really took it by storm here. 8 tackles is the leading tackler. As we'll hop to our 8 o'clock game, our Sunday night game, as you will say. It's Cowboys versus Giants is going to be the matchup. And we'll see how Dak Prescott and Daniel Jones are able to play in their games. Hopefully they can each rally their teams well enough to be competitive, as right now the Cowboys are up by 14 it's this quick 14 at that, and the Giants still yet to score 21-0. Giants got to do something here. They're not really moving the ball too much, as they finally do get a touchdown, but they turn the ball over, it looks like, and it looks like the Cowboys will win this one with a score of 21-7. So not a great start for the Giants considering they only got 7 points. But a good start for the Cowboys is they got to win, and I agree the Cowboys will win. I think it will be a score of 23-16. And we'll look at the passing stats here. As Daniel Jones had 3 interceptions, no touchdowns. He had an awful game, as Dak had the reverse stats. He had 3 touchdowns and no interceptions. As Daniel Jones had a rushing touchdown, and Tony Pollard led in rushing yards. And we'll look at receiving yards here too. Brandon Cooks had a touchdown, so did Michael Gallup. Darius Slayton leading in receiving yards out of everybody. And defensively, Trayvon Diggs and Deron Bland able to get interceptions on Daniel Jones, as Leighton Vander Esch had 12 tackles in that game. Definitely a very good defensive performance from the Giants, not the Giants, the Cowboys. All right, our next game, as I kind of lost my train of thought at the end of that there, it'll be Bills and Jets. This will be our final game of the week, and it will be an AFC East divisional matchup, and we'll see what Madden thinks about this one, as it will be played in New York at MetLife Stadium. This will be Aaron Rodgers' first game as a New York Jet, so we'll see how he does with his new team. This will be the first time he's played with a team besides the Packers in quite a while, because he's played with the Packers his whole career of the NFL, and it's going to start off pretty good for him according to Madden, as the Jets win this one with a score of 17-7, as I personally do not agree, because I do think the Bills are going to win this game, and I think they're going to win with a score of 23-20. And that will be the final simulation, as this will be the final time looking at stats this week, as Aaron Rodgers had a touchdown and a pick, and Josh Allen, he kind of had a rookie performance game for his standards, rushing the ball. Damian Harris, Dalvin Cook got in the end zone. Dalvin Cook led in rushing yards. And receiving yards, Allen Lazard had a receiving touchdown. Garrett Wilson leading in receiving yards. And it doesn't look like they were able to move the ball on either team, since there was only 24 total points. Tre'Davious White got a pick, but it wasn't quite enough to win the game. And yeah, that's going to do it for this video, as we had our disagreements that me and Madden like to have, just because I'm a human being that can think thoughts, and it's a video game that probably can't think thoughts, so I have that advantage there. But yeah, if you watched till the end of the video, I appreciate you a lot. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, maybe you'll come back and watch my Week 2 predictions next week. But until then, I will see you in the next video. Have a great day. Peace out.